Hello everyone, welcome to lecture 3 of Introduction to Python and I am Atul. In this lecture we are going to discuss about the topics data types in Python. So in Python there are basically data types of 5 kinds. One is the number. Number is of again divided into 3 classes: integer, float and complex. Then there is a type of data type that is called sequence, and they are again divided into 3 classes. One is the list, second one is the tuple, and last one is the string. Then there is a data type set, and there is an interesting data type dictionary, and finally we will see the boolean data type in Python. Let's discuss about the data type. So in Python every value has an associated data type, and this data type is associated at runtime. And in Python every value is an object of some kind. So we can think data type as a class and the values or variable as instances of these class. Basically data type is an attribute of a data which tells the Python interpreter that how does a programmer wants to deal with it. Values are classified into different data types, or we can say classes. So to know a data type of a variable or value, we can use a type function. So it will return the data type or class of a particular variable. There is another function isInstance which returns a boolean value that is either true or false. So we can use this isInstance function to check whether a particular variable belongs to a special kind of class or not. So let's take an example. Here I have written a string hello world, and if I check its type is given as a str, that is string. Again I have written here a example using isInstance function, and I have passed two arguments. First is the variable and second one is a class. So basically I am checking whether 10 belongs to this integer class or not. So it returns me true because 10 is an integer value. In Python data types are classified like numbers, sequence, dictionary, set and boolean. Numbers are classified into 3 classes: integer, float and complex. And in Python the sequence are again divided into 3 classes: list, tuple and string. There is another data type dictionary, set and boolean, which has exactly two values, that is true and false. Talk about the number data type in Python. So number are basically has 3 classes of data type: integer class, float class or complex class. So integer is like any whole number, it could be a negative or positive whole number. Float class has variables or values like having a fractional part, and that is represented by decimal sign. This is a float variable and this is an integer variable. We can check the type of these variables. So it will return integer and it will return float. Similarly Python provides a complex data type also, or you can say complex class. The syntax of this is a real part plus imaginary part having j. So if you are writing something like this, a plus b of j, then this will become a complex number. Obviously a and b are the constants which represent the real part and imaginary part, like 2 plus 3j. This is an complex number. In Python we can take integer of any length, and it is only just limited by the memory of our computer system, that is the main memory. So you can take any variable which has a value, a very huge value. Like if you can type this value in Python, it is acceptable, there is no problem with this value. This is an acceptable integer value. So that is the advantage of the Python. In Python, the floating point number is accurate up to 15 decimal places. That means after decimal points you will get up to 15 digits. Another interesting data type provided by Python is the sequence, which has three classes: list, tuple, and string. So basically these are the ordered collection of elements, and these elements can be of same type or different type. A list is represented in using square brackets, tuple using the parenthesis, and the string is represented either using single quote, either using double quote, or even you can use triple quote also. So basically single quote is used generally for if you have one character string, and if you are writing any word, then you would use the double quotes, and if you are using a multi-line string, then you use the triple quotes. So let's talk about the list in more detail. So this is the symbol of list in Python. This is similar like array in C language, but there is a difference between list of Python and array in C. First difference is that list is of dynamic length, that means you can change the length of the list, but array is of fixed length. Second thing, the elements of the list can be of same or different type, but array elements can be of exactly same type, not of different data types. So list is an ordered sequence of elements, and the elements are separated using the comma. The elements could be of same data type or they can be of different data types. They are enclosed within the bracket, so anything written inside this bracket will become a list. So this is a valid example of Python list. So here it has three elements, 1, 2.2 and Python, and this is a one single list object which is represented by this variable a. To access the elements of a list, we can use the slicing operator. The syntax of the slicing operator is like something like this. It has first value as a start, then stop, then step. So let's see this slicing operator in more detail in list in next example. And in Python, a list has an indexes from 0 onwards, and it is called forward index, and basically it is from left to right. In Python there is a backward index also, which starts from -1 at the will start from at the end of the list. Let's see an example and then you have a clarity about it. Let's have an example. I have taken here a list which has 7 elements. So the forward indexes will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. These are called forward indexes. And similarly in Python also provides the negative indexes which start from end of any list. So this will like -1, -2, then -3, -4, -5, -6, -7. So these are the backward indexes. So if we write a square bracket 2, basically this is called slicing operator here. So we are extracting the element at index 2. So at index 2 we have 30. So this print statement will return 30 as an answer. We can use slicing operator to print a range values, like here I have written 0, 3. So let's have a look about the slicing operator. So it has a syntax like start index, then stop index, and then there is a step. By default it is +1. So if you omit this, the value will be +1. So here I have written start index 0 and stop index 3. There is interesting thing, the stop index which has been written here will be ignored. That means the element the selected will be up to 0 to index 2. So if I write a square bracket 0 3, this will give me the answer 10, 20 and 30. Let's take another example. Let me write the indexes first. So these are the forward indexes, and let's have a look at the backward indexes: -1, -2, -3, -4, then -5, -6 and -7. Okay, so here I am printing the elements from index 2 up to index 4. So this is the element at index 2 up to index 4, means 4 will be ignored. So the element printed with this line will be 30 and 40. So answer of this line will be 30 and 40. Let's check another example. Here I have omitted the stop index. So if you omit the stop index, Python prints all the value starting from the start index up to the end of that list. So from index 2 it will start and it will print all the elements up to the last index. That is the element printed by this statement will be 30, 40, 45, 65 and 66. Let's have a look in this example where I have used a positive index as a start and negative as index as a ending index or stop index. So from index 1 we are starting, and at index 3 we are stopping. So obviously you know that the stop index will be ignored. So the element will be start printing from 20 up to 40. So answer of this thing will be 20, 30 and 40. Let's take another example. Here I have taken both indexes negative. So start index is -6, that means you will start from at this index and you will move up to index -3. So the element up to these are 20, 30 and 40. So again the answer will be the same as previous answer, 20, 30 and 40. So in list are mutable objects. That means you can change the elements of a list using slicing operator. Like here I have taken a list which has 3 elements, 10, 20 and 30, and the elements indexes are 0, 1 and 2. And if I want to change the last element, that is the element at index 2, I will write a of 2 equals to 40. So the last element will be changed here. This property is called mutable. That means you can change it. So if you want to write a user defined list, you can write, but let's have a look in a multiple input from the user first. So this is an input function which you know already, and this string is called prompt string, and there is a function written here, split function. Split function does what? It split a given string. By default it split a given string by spaces inside it. So as soon as you write this line and press enter button, you will get this prompt string. Enter 3 values. You can type any number of values. It doesn't mean that if you have written enter 3 values as a prompt, so you have to type exactly 3 values. It is up to you. So if you write 3 values, 11, 22 and 33, after giving the spaces, make sure there are spaces between 11, 22 and 33, then this split function will split this string from the spaces. That means it will split it like this. So basically it will split into 3 string, 11, 22 and 33. Now these 3 string objects are assigned into variables a, b and c respectively. So in this example, if you type more than 3 value, it will give you an error because we have taken only 3 variables at left hand side. So if you want a integer list, you can typecast it. So I have typecast all 3 integer values here, so they becomes integer values. And if you work upon this, like I have added them, the answer is 66. So this is the one way of writing the user defined list. There are some other ways of writing or creating a user defined list. Let's have a look. So this special syntax is called list comprehension. We will see this syntax later on because it has involved a for loop also. So again we are using input dot split. You can understand from the last slide it. So basically this will accept any string which is separated by spaces, and this split function will split this string from spaces, and each element of this string is assigned to variable x, and then it will be typecast using this integer function, and all of this thing is written inside a list. So this will create a user defined list. So if I print L, this will give a user defined list of 4 numbers. There is another method using for loop and append function which we will see later. So first we will take a empty list. You can take an empty list by writing this syntax, a variable, and assign it a bracket, empty bracket. And this is a for loop syntax for I in range. This is a range function which start from 0 by default and goes up to the here -1. That means this will range over values 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So basically this for loop has a value 0 first, then 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. Here I have written inside this for loop, I have used a input function which will accept a value from user, and then it will typecast this value into integer and then assign this value to variable a, and then I am appending this value a which is typecast into this list L. So if I write or type 10, then 20, then 30, then 40 and 50, one by one these value will be appended into this list. Tuple data type is defined by the small bracket, and basically it is also an ordered sequence. The elements of the tuple also can be of same or different data types, and they are separated using comma. There is just one difference between tuple and list, that is list is mutable object while tuple is an immutable object. That means once you have defined a tuple object, you cannot modify its value. So it is defined within the parenthesis and the elements are separated using comma. So this is an example of tuple. Interesting thing is that if you have one single element inside tuple, so basically you have to write like this. So this is an awkward syntax of tuple which you have to memorize, otherwise you will create an error, or this will not basically give you an error, but this is not if you write like this, t equals to 23, this is not a tuple. So if your tuple has single element, just put a comma after writing single element. We can also use the slicing operator to extract the elements of the tuple, but we cannot modify the elements of the tuple. So if we are writing a tuple t which has three objects, one is the integer, second one is the string, and third one is a complex object, and if we are printing t1, again there will be indexes because it is an ordered object, so the elements can be indexed forward, there will be forward index as well as there will be a negative backward indexes. So you can use the slicing operator to extract the tuple elements. So if I write t1, this will give me the element at index 1. So if you want to print a range of elements of a tuple, just use the slicing operator and provide the proper indexes, like here I have written 0 colon 3, so it will give me the all three objects at index 0, 1 and 2. So if you try to modify the tuple object, it will give you an error. So basically you cannot modify a tuple object because it is immutable. So this is the only difference between tuple and list object. Let's have a look into the string. So in Python, the string is a sequence of Unicode characters. We can use string inside single quote, double quote, or even we can use the triple quote for multi-line string. String are also immutable object, that means you cannot modify any character of a string, but you can use the slicing operator to extract the characters of a string. So again there will be forward indexes like 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 and so on, and there will be backward indexes. There is also important thing, this space will be also counted as a character here. So we can use the slicing operator to extract a part of a string, and strings are immutable object. So here I have a string s equals to hello world. So if I write s4, this will give me the element at index 4. So let's have a look at 0 1 2 3 4. So at index 4 this O is here. So this will give me O as a answer. You can use slicing operator also to extract a sequence of string or substring part of a string, that is. So if you are writing 6:11, so this will return the string word. So if you try to modify it, it will generate an error because it is immutable. Let's have a look about the set object. Set are unordered collection. That means there is no sequencing of elements of set. That means you cannot use the slicing operator, and also you cannot use the indexes. And the set are represented using the braces. So anything written inside the braces will become the set. One more thing is that the element of the sets are unique. So if I have created here a set, and the value, if I print the type of this variable a, so I will get set as a class of this variable. So we cannot apply indexing in set. Also we cannot apply the slicing operator. So how we can modify or update or work upon the set? So we can use the basic set operation like union, intersection, difference, etc. Set have unique values. That means if you write a duplicate values like something like this 1 1 2 2 3, and if you print this set, the Python will return a set of unique elements like this. So this thing will be converted automatically because set elements are unique, they cannot be duplicated. So you can apply the union operation using union method, or you can apply the intersection method also here, or you can apply the difference between two set. So one set is used to call this function and another is passed as an argument. Let's have a look about the dictionary data type in Python, which is very interesting data type. It is also an unordered data type. That means you cannot use the indexes or slicing operator to access the elements of dictionary. Basically, one element of dictionary is represented using key and value pair. Dictionary are used to retrieve the data or search the data very efficiently. So to retrieve any value, you must know the key of that value. These are defined again. Dictionary is defined within the braces, and this is a one single element of the dictionary. The key can be immutable object. That means you can pick any immutable object as a key, but value can be a mutable object as well as it can be an immutable object. One more thing, Key will be a unique element. That means if in your dictionary there are multiple elements, the all elements must have unique keys, but the value can be common. So here I have taken a dictionary which has two elements. This is the first element and this is the second element. This first part is called key, and after colon the second part is called value part. So this key part must be an immutable object, and the second part can be mutable or immutable object. To access the value part, you must know the key of that part. So if I write D10, which is the key here, I will get its respective value, which is here a string value. So if I write D and provide a key, then I will get a respective value, that is 20 here. So Boolean data type has two values, either it can be true or false. Important thing is that you have to write this true as it is. You cannot use true like this in small cases, that is, or false like this. This is an incorrect syntax. You have to write exactly like this. So Python returns the Boolean values while evaluating an expression and while you are comparing two values using some comparison operator. Basically this syntax is wrong. You have to write A equals to B. So this will return you true. So that's all about the data type. Thank you and meet you in next lecture.